Well, Terry, always great pleasure to catch up, and boy, these troubled times, but you reckon it could cost, what, $1 billion to recover what we've lost through these storms?
Yeah, and that's the on-farm or orchard cost, not the cost of roading infrastructure and all those other things that add multiple billions on the top. But yeah, we've done a bit of an economic exercise into trying to value the damage based on that. We know that there's about 5,500 farms and orchards that are affected across the country. We used really good data that came out of the 2004 floods, which are not dissimilar in terms of style of event, although this is way worse in terms of impact and covers 9 provinces as opposed to 5. And so we had a yardstick there of what things actually cost, and then extrapolated that out to what it looks like for this event with that number of farms, plus bringing that costing into today's numbers, 20 years later. Yes, and then the other thing we've done too is we know what things ballpark cost in terms of horticulture and viticulture, which weren't affected in other events that we've had. In fact, really not since Cyclone Bowler have we seen impacts outside of just pastoral farming to this level. It costs about $100,000 a hectare to plant an apple orchard. And then on top of that, of course, you've got 5 years in which you have to wait until you get a crop. And so for some of these orchardists and farmers out there, the impact of this disaster is beyond anybody's real comprehension.
So what can be done for them? I mean, can they get compensation? Never enough, of course, to cover everything, but is that potentially the answer?
Yeah, well, for some orchards, for example, they will have had insurance to cover their trees, but and some of them also would have had business interruption insurance, which is also helpful in this because there's going to be no income for several years. But like all enterprises, there'll be those that haven't got insurance, and there'll be a whole lot of scope outside of insurance, and that's where a whole lot of fundraising activity, government assistance, looking at things even like what does adaptation look like going forward? Will some areas be able to be replanted on at all if they're in danger of the same thing occurring in the years to come? So there's some big decisions to make at a lot of levels by a lot of different types of people, and then all through this we've got the mental well-being of farmers and growers out there that need to see a way forward through this. So for many, this is going to be a step too far, and we'll walk away. Hopefully not many. And there'll be those out there that can just help their neighbours. So one of the things that we're doing, which I think is really, really significant this coming weekend, is launching the Farming Army. And as glib a term as that is, the real significance here is it's farmers helping other farmers with skills. So look, Mark, you and I could probably go into a farm and pull debris off a fence, but I doubt you and I have the skills to replace that fence.
No.
So getting farmers who can do that sort of stuff, or drive heavy machinery to carve a new track or access point, or share some sheep that are suffering from animal welfare issues because they've been cut off, for now a month. So actually getting farmers who know that what goes around comes around, we're quite happy to donate their time, and we'll get them there to do what they do best.
And you've had pretty amazing response. I mean, hundreds of farmers stepping up.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Like it just warms my heart really seeing what communities do for each other. We've got about 600 farmer volunteers at this point in time. We think that will ramp up even further now that we've actually got something to do. We had to wait, of course, until the national state of emergency was stood down, because then we're now officially, as of today, in fact, into recovery, which is a great thing. So matching up those 600 people with people that are in need, and we're trying to prioritise that need. If you've got no boundary fences, that's pretty problematic as a farmer. If you're a deer farmer, that's probably even more significantly problematic than other kinds of pastoral farming, because once deer end up in the wild, you won't get them back. And so, prioritising the kind of fencing that'll secure those properties, for example, will be Yeah, pretty important. So we're getting those people now that are saying, yep, we actually do need some help. And trying to get farmers to put their hands up saying we need help is not the easiest thing necessarily. Farmers are very stoic. They always think their neighbours are worse off than they are. But also just, access. We've been working this week pretty strongly with the Civil Contractors Association, the Rural Contractors Association, and the Fencing Contractors Association to try and look at what's the progression of work that needs to be done when things start to dry out, so that we can go in. First, we'll get these roads open so we can actually get to places, then be able to get onto farm where there's farm access problems, get stock off, which is a big priority for many, and then start looking at the fencing.